utaona watu wanasema do not turn up, do not do this, if you do this it will be very bad for you. Au ni watu wenye wanaingiza baridi. Then the third way is the law, penye utapata maybe wenye watatokea kesho ama wenye walitokea in the previous maandamanos, kuna wenye walikuwa charged na vitu zenye hawakufanya. So hata court of law, hata magistrate mwenyewe maybe this is like a personal question, hata yeye mwenyewe hawezi jiuliza this case yenye wameleta, it doesn't make sense. So I think William Ruto is really trying to test the waters. How far can the Kenyan person persevere the more I push ama the more I abduct? But the previous speaker kuna kitu alisema which made sense to me, is trying to create like a heaven. Unaona, ye akicoordinate na Museveni, then Museveni will get his back, maybe uko mbele kitu kikiumana. Otherwise, thank you for the time, Pipita.
Okay, thank you so much for that. Ladies and gentlemen, we are half an hour past 5 p.m. East African time. Welcome to Home Run with Pipi. We happen here each and every weekday, 4 p.m. to 9 p.m.
Social conversations, engaging topics on your phone, anywhere. This is Home Run with Pipi.
Calvin, how are you doing? We are starting the first 2 hours. We will be here up until 7 p.m. We will be talking about the trending topics that are happening in the country right now. And then at 7 p.m., we're going to go into wellness. Wednesday. Today, we are going to be having doctors in the panel. So stay tuned up until then. I know it's going to be a learning experience. How are you doing, Calvin? Calvin, unmute your mic if you can. Ala, kama Calvin hajaweza kukua kwenye microphone. Yes, shout out to you, Joylene anakuwa pale ndani, Magwa anakuwa pale ndani, Jackson, Vinny G, big up to you, Magnum, 7G, Otieno, big up to you as well, African Johnny, naona pale ndani, Mushira, Cyprian, big up to you, Ochani, of course, General Chalo nakuwa pale ndani, Western Shilaho, Kabribu ndani ya show. Calvin, talk to us. Kwani Calvin mic yake inaingia ikitoka? Talia, Calvin leo network imemkataa. I see Talia, you came back. Do you have something to tell us? Watu wanatuandikia tu spam messages hapa hivi. So yeah, that was one thing that I noticed. Nimeipata tu sahi kwenye news that they got Kizza Besigye from Kenya. Do you know how crazy it is that you are running away from a country and you're still arrested in a different jurisdiction? And it's not like you're a terrorist. It's just a political crime. Oh my goodness. Talia, your hand is up.
Yes. Okay. Mimi niko na kitu kingine ya kusema. It is so ironic and so bad when you have a president mwenye ana address femicide when over 300 women have died. And I addressed leo. We started the year with end femicide. Saizi bado tunarudi streets December juu ya end femicide. And he thinks it's funny. He thinks it's just a normal issue. Ini issue ange address January. Leo ndi ana address na anatenga 100 million. This man is just taking us kama matako yake. Thank you.
So your 100 million ameitenga ni ya kazi gani haswa? Because I've seen 100 million eti wanafaa wazunguke waki end femicide ama wanafaa wafanye nini nayo?
When you're given 100 million and what make me understand what will it itafufua wenye wamekufa. It can't bring them back. Another thing, look at how they did to Mukuru kwa Janga, that crisis. Look at what they did, seriously. They just let the case flow for a month or two. Then after things have looked like they're sinking, they let it sink and stay still. And then now, some days later, they just look like when they bring back ati ametoroka. Si wajinga hivyo, by the way. And then coming to hear stories ati this person was a Ugandan. Now look at this collaboration. Again, the same country. So I don't know what kind of conmanship is being planned between Kenya and Uganda, but at this point of life and time, guys, if you're in here and you're turning up tomorrow, able turn up. If you can't, occupy the internet. Let's make this man see how evil, how bad he can be, how cruel, how bad. This is horrible. People can't be dying, and then we assume it's okay. Life itself is a precious thing. God gave it to us. It's not given by him. So let's give this thing a treasure. At least turn up, because leo utakosa kuturn up because you don't know someone or you're not involved. Chef utakosa kuturn up because you're not sick right now. What if you get sick? What if they come for you? We don't know who is next. Guys, if you're turning up tomorrow, let's go. Thank you, PP.
Okay, thank you for that, Talia. I see Calvin, I finally get the mic. Calvin, kabla he dropped and talk to us.
Yes, good evening, PP.
Good evening to you. You well?
Yes, I'm so well, and disappointment is very, very, very. It's what is now disturbing me because of that kidnapping. So tomorrow, kindly let us stand up because we want to tell Ruto that this country belongs to all of us. This country doesn't belong to his mom or anybody, but all of us, we belong to this country. And for that reason, whatever is happening in our neighbors, Uganda, is not pleasing me. How comes Wanajeshi is now the one controlling Besige, and they have the constitution, very well constitution, and they don't want to do what constitution needs? That is very embarrassment. So kindly, Wananchi, if today we can decide ourselves on ourselves to combine our brains here, tomorrow at exactly, even if it is 5, we march to the parliament. We tell Ruto that enough is enough. Enough is enough for this kidnapping. Our people cannot be kidnapped like that, and that we're just living like that. Because I told you before, my friends, right now we don't have opposition. Opposition we don't have. We are the one now to oppose the government. And being opposition is not a sin. It is in the constitution. It is in the constitution because we are the one to check the government on how the government is doing its things. Right now, the government is just doing things aimlessly. They don't know direction. The person who can guide us, we don't have. Because Raila is know himself that today is not opposition. He's now considering African Union. We must now put our brains together and say that enough is enough. Enough is enough. We want justice. Justice is what we need. And before we get that justice, my friends, I'm telling you, let us find where our candidature is. Because we must find the candidature very fast. A candidate who is very strong, who can oppose this government. We don't want jokes. Government cannot just be like that. I think that is my suggestion.
Santi sana Calvin for that as well. African Johnny, how are you doing? Ngoja kabla tuende kwa Africa, let's hear from Joy Lee. Tumeruka Joy Lee. Joy Lee, how are you doing?
Hi, Professor. How are you doing?
I am well. Yourself?
I'm fine. Hiyo video ya Christiana ilinikumbusha wewe na masaibu zako na Nyayo House.
Yeah, ile wanakuuliza eti kama uko na title deed. Oh my God. Mimi hata sitaki kukumbuka hiyo mambo ya passport bwana.
Inakutrigger.
Alafu mtu anakuja kuniambia hapa hivi mimi ni mtu wa gava, nasikia kumchapa mahedi yani.
Tuwa gavana umesumbuka kupata passport for what, 1 year?
Yeah, 302 days. Imagine. That's a whole year.
So you might as well call it a year.
It is.
And I feel like more and more people will have that struggle. They'll continue to struggle and wait for a passport. even getting IDs, getting anything, any services. This government already, all these things is doing ni PR tu anafanya because ana realize he's losing favor on the ground. Like all the sweet things he said during campaign zimeisha ladha yake. Makanisa ndio hao wanaanza kumwaibisha. Tumemwaibisha internationally. We continue to embarrass him. That is, we will always stay on brand and embarrass this man. He doesn't seem to get it through his thick skull that the things that the late Moi used to get away with, he can't get away with it because we have the power of social media. That is why they are trying to find a way of destabilizing Elon Musk's Starlink in Kenya so that they can continue, controlling us the way they have controlled us. And we'll continue to see how we can get access to such internet because we have realized this is the only way we can destroy his image that he has worked so hard to maintain. To the point where he couldn't even speak at a peace leadership event where he wanted to pretend that he's such a peaceful leader and wants to teach people how to be a peaceful leader, which is a lie. We know this man, he reigns with death and terror. That is his brand. In fact, that's what he should say. He should stop wasting people's time with prayer and trying to look like a prayerful man. He has a thirst for blood, which is quite obvious to many, very obvious. And the tactics they use to control, it has nothing to do with peace. But I want to remain positive and say that more and more people who had believed everything he was telling them, more and more of them are waking up and slowly realizing that if they want to see a Kenya that they desire, to live up to, this man is not it. This man will not take us to where we need to go. He wants to take us backwards. He's not trying to take us forward. He's trying to take us backwards. And he's only thinking about him and his clique of friends. And his merry band of thieves. They're just looting. They're looting and they're looting and they're looting. They have nothing to account for. How long will they keep pointing at Uhuru Kenyatta? How long? When do we start holding him accountable for things that he has said he will do and he has not done? And even as they take more and borrow more money from the Bretton Woods institutions, wakiendelea kukopa hapa na kule, promising not only our future but our children's future and our grandchildren's future. That's how much of a debt we are in. Our debt has gone on to basically the third generation. He has basically sold us to economic slavery, basically. And he's a failure. It's ridiculous that he did a performance review of his PS. Yet for him, he has failed miserably. It's the pot calling the kettle black. And making promises that clearly he knows he cannot live up to. He can't even be ashamed. And na hiyo ya kusema tu kweli, that has been his slogan from way back in the 90s. I saw an old news clip of him saying ati kweli usemwe. This man he has no relationship to the truth. Zero relationship. In fact, hata nadhani anaweza gonjeka akijaribu kusema ukweli. He's more at peace with lies. We are not foolish. We're not ignorant. We can see through his nonsense. We can see through his lies. Yeah, that's mostly what I wanted to say.
Asante sana kwa hilo, Joy Lee. Let's go now to African Journey, then we can hear from MC Rapper and Generali. African, habari ya leo? Unmute your mic, African, if you can hear me. Okay, looks like African amepotea. General China, Talk to me.
Yes, thank you very much, Peter, for the chance. Me, every day, like each and every day in this country is just a day of sorrow. There's no day you can wake up of something positive because of this man called William Ruto. Today we are waking up to a surprise where a leader from other country was just run and seek refuge in our country, who is not even a criminal, being abducted. It could be good if he was arrested, then they state the reasons for arrest. Today, this guy is being arrested in a democratic country like Kenya and taken to the military cells in Uganda. It is so bad that it is happening in this country, and it shows. If it can happen in the broad light like that, under the watch of his leadership, it shows, and it shows how bad we are and the kind of leader we are. If that's a leader from another country being done to like that, what's the message that is sending to the people on the ground that are opposing him? It's also like mbinu ya kuzia watu woga, like if I have done that to Besigye, if you come tomorrow, what can I do for you? But me, what I say, like, this is something we have vowed. This is something we have vowed that this guy, we are not going to entertain all this. The moment people say that we go up to 2027 and we are just barely 2 years, 3 years shy elections, 2 years from election, and things are just like this, it means the country is at mess. And the president is running the country with emotions. The president is just a bitter man. He's only bitter with these people because the people want the truth. He was the person who was campaigning on the grounds that he could achieve all this. And he lied to very many Kenyans. He lied to very many young Kenyans and lured them that he will deliver them from the yoke of dynasty. And he himself now is creating the dynasty. And he's creating it in a bad way where young people are losing their lives. People are being abducted left and center. Women are being killed left and center under his watch. Then he tells us now that he has tendered a certain amount of money to do this. It's like when Kindiki was telling us that because now he has joined the seat of the deputy president, now he will be able to do away with the issues of abduction. While himself, he was standing in the cabinet post of Interior Secretary that watched over thousands of Kenyans being tortured, being arrested illegally, and being detained illegally. So you wonder which country are we in. So one thing I always hint and I always say, I will stand among the people who will be going out there to fight for their rights, because the level that it has put me, the level the county has put me, the level this guy has put me, I don't have a chance. We don't have to give him a chance. We are suffering. We are suffering. We are being overtaxed. Someone is taxing you money that is building for you a house. That house itself, you can't afford it. Even if they live in an open ground without even being taxed. The taxation is in continuing each and every time. The only thing the government can do to you is to lie to you every time. It is just government that is made of lies. And they are even investing money that should be used to run important things like health are being used to pay few people to praise them that there's a work they are doing here. So me, I'm saying tomorrow, for the people for you, it is just on personal. I say, revolution, you don't look for someone at Peter amesema aje. It will be amongst yourself. When we're like, tomorrow I'm going there, and I'm going there to bring a change in this country. The reason I want to bring this change in this country, because I'm tired. I'm tired of this country, the way things are run. I cannot go to the hospital right now and I get a proper health. I get good health, quality health. And someone tells me that he's introducing a universal health that covers all Kenyans. And all of this is just shit. It has never worked. Even the NHIF, the recent one, was not working. He has brought another one now full of mess, which is not working at all. Someone is eager to tell you that just go home and work on SHA, work on registering on SHA, then you come back, then we start the treatment. You go outside there desperate, then when you come back, it tells you again that the system is not working. You have to make a down payment. And this is something you have been contributing in your entire life. It is so painful. It's like this guy is just seeing us like animals. And we have to prove to him. And I always say here, every time and then, this is not a guy to engage in the table. When at the aim of the demonstrations of the June 25, during that Genz demonstration, he called an X meeting, just coming there to read people's mind and select few people he could buy and the few who are adamant that he could abduct and kill. It is so unfortunate. So I'm urging each and everyone, this is not a government to support. In fact, if you stand amongst us here supporting this government, it means you are the greatest mess and you are the part of the greatest mess that is affecting this country. And you, when the time of tribulation comes, also you will also have to face the consequences. You will face them directly or indirectly, because even the Lord God of mercy will punish you for being ignorant and standing with the oppressor. So me, I'm saying, and I always say, no man can pickpocket a naked man. A naked man will never be pickpocketed. So it is time, and the time is now. Tomorrow we make a decision that you make by yourself, that I'm leaving my house. I'm going to fight for this thing. I'm going to fight for it because it affects my life, and I'm also a young person who aspires to have a family and live a good life. That is what should always drive you when you go outside there. That's the only thing that can always move you from your bed and wear your shoes and take your water and the whatsoever and move to the street. So for the guys who love this nation, we would like to see you there. Me, as I always do, I will always go there, do what I have to do, because it is now my responsibility. It is something I've vowed to do. And I always say, I better die in the streets rather than dying in the house with depression. Depression will kill you for more than 2 weeks, then at long last, you will hang yourself. And a person who has hanged himself and a person who has died a normal death is buried differently. I better be buried a decent death. Someone who was there in the street fighting for something worth, and even God will have mercy on me. Thank you.
Asante sana kwa hiyo General China. Thank you so much for speaking to us this evening. African Journey, network African Journey kwani inafanya mambo gani? Let's go to, remember we have less than 1 hour before we go. We are going to be ending this space at 6:55. They will be listening to the doctor. So kindly, when you get the mic, keep it short as possible so that we can hear other people speak as well. So I'm going to be capping it at around 6 minutes at each. I see the one and only MC Rapper. How are you doing, MC Rapper?
Hey, I'm doing great, Peter. What's up?
I'm good.
Okay. First of all, I'm grateful for the opportunity, for the microphone, and I'm grateful for the energy that, by the way, there is a lot of rage amongst us, and I can feel it. I know tomorrow is date 21. So kindly, fellow Kenyans, fellow Africans, also those who are in Nairobi, whatever you must know is the war that we are fighting, the war that we are in is not only political but also spiritual. Tomorrow being 21st, for those who know astrology well or numerology, they will understand this. But I'm not going to explain more of that. Tomorrow being 21st is 1 + 2 = 3. So the elites, the so-called Freemasons, Illuminati, and as you all know, the parliament is built strategically in some, I don't know, they are spiritual, their thing. You know what the elites do, you know what the Freemasons do. So tomorrow it's like some degree the grands and whatsoever wako na sacrificial thing kufanya, and so the thing that they are trying to do will cover up their dirty work. they'll do it politically. How? So Kenyans kesho wanatokea wanaenda parliament. By the time mtakuwa mnaenda parliament, I need you to be very careful and spiritually I want you, or I request you all to be manned with, if you can carry the bells, if you can carry, by the way, sufurias, and if you can carry salt. Salt itakuwa for protection, bad energies, itakuwa na absorb bad energies. So the government wakiwa itapunguza hiyo ambush. And I think for those who are in Nairobi, personally I'm not in Nairobi, so na tunataka hii kitu ikuwe successful. And also remember to know why you are going to the protest. Remember why you are
static. Ongea sasa. I think una ongelesha through microphones, earphones.
Aya, so I hope nasikika sasa.
Yeah, uko sawa.
So aya. So kesho mkienda kwa hii maandamano, kindly man yourself with sufurias, bells na salt in your pocket for spiritual purposes. The firimbis aiziwak juu hapa hivi tuna deal na the devils themselves. Kesho Ruto ukiona nini yo back chat ya Ruto, it's not a good thing. Na ndo maana unaona Ruto alikuwa lazima angekuwa yeye ndo the main puppet mwenye anafaa kutrigger sisi. Unajua Kenyans we've been so comfortable with people just stealing money and we tumechill. Saizi unaona wase wana presu wenyewe venye sijui alifanya nini na nini, while is part and parcel of this. So Ruto is now sasa yeye ndo ile turning point ya from bad to good. Yeye ndo maana unaona saizi uko na hiyo hasira. Nimesikiza Joyli, nimesikiza dem fulani hapa hivi alikuwa anaitwa Talia, nimesikia hiyo hasira ako nayo. So acha niwaambie hii story ya femicide. Hii story ya femicide ni imekuja ndo iseparate, yani ikuwe ni kama women hawafai hata kuwa na wanaume karibu juu, yani wanafaa, the gospel that they should be preaching is against men, na men pia the message that they should be preaching is against women. Ati sijui gold digger nini haya, wale pia wanawake pia waanze na makiu, hii kitu ina backfire. So hata hakuna feminist anaongelea hii kitu, hakuna women rep anaongelea hii kitu, lakini leo all of a sudden the president amepata 100 million ya kuongelea sijui ya kufanya nini, na sasa 100 million sijui anaenda kupea nani. That being said, we are on the safer side, na kitu iko, we are going to win this war, but still haitakuwa kesho, juu haitakuwa rahisi. Kesho sasa ni kuconfirm that we mean what we are saying. Nyinyi nawatakia kila laheri kesho for those who will be on the streets. And just by the way, the spiritual thing yenye nimesema hapo hivyo, remember to do that. Alafu 2025 sasa ndo inaenda kukua the turning point here, where banks by the way will sink. Banks will sink na a lot of money ya wase. Kama sahi I hope mnajua banks hazina cash mob, ama nini mob. Cash mob iko na NGOs niliona ndo the leading, na sijui churches. And that's why umeona bado kuna story ya churches zimeanza saizi. So we are on the good, na tunaenda kuwini war. Lakini what whatever is needed for us to win this war, it's that rage yenye tuko nayo. Hiyo rage yenye tuko nayo ndo hiyo boiling, hiyo unasikia kama unachemka. That's what is needed. Juu by the time utaexplainia msee, hata hakuna explanation by the way hiyo rage yenye nimesikia hapa hivi. There is no explanation. What we need to do is take care of ourselves kwanza ensure umeenda maandamano kama at least umekula, at least umekula, kuwa na nguvu kwanza, kuwa na maji, haya, kuwa na salt kwa mfuko ama kwa mfuko tu ama whatever kwenye utavaa ama kwa socks ama whatever kwenye utaweka wewe, na utokee na hizo vitu nimesema. Haya, nikimalizia nasema we are winning the war bado tu, and I thank you all. Thank you Peter. Minute yangu acha ni cut short na hiyo.
Thank you, Joseph, for that. Today we have a very short time. We have 1 hour to go now to our conversation with Dr. Sharon. I see Mau Mau is in the building. Mau Mau, for 5 minutes, what are your thoughts on all this that are happening, including the kidnapping of Kizza Besigye in Nairobi during the launch of Martha Karua's book, and now he's surfacing in Uganda? Mau Mau.
Good evening, good morning. Thank you, Pipita, and every panelist who is on board. I'm indeed enthusiastic to contribute towards the happenings, especially in matters abduction that keep on recurring. You know, in height of insecurity as far as our borders are concerned, this tells you how susceptible we are in terms of the parameters of securities are concerned. It tells you that if somebody like Besigye can be abducted in our soil, who came here not as a refuge, but just to witness a launch of one of the leaders and one of the Fred, you know, and resurfacing in Uganda. That tells you how these two leaders are collaborating to kill and abduct, or to abduct and kill. Remember, in the height of Genz maandamanos, we noted that there were some policemen who didn't fit or befit the height of our policemen. And we were asking ourselves, where are these policemen, or where are these guys coming from? We suspect that it is Museveni who was sending them here in collaboration with Loot All. I don't know, we have suspended the bills of right and the tenets of justice in our own country, and what is ruling at the moment is tyranny. And the person that we have at the helm disregard any right that is enshrined in our precious constitution that we gave unto ourselves 2010. This is a constitution that we fought dearly, yet being watered, yet being mutilated. You know, it is the right time for us Kenyans to realize that the regime that we have at the moment and the regimes that we have had has no concern with Kenya, with the people. So it is the high time for everybody to know that it is we for ourselves against them. And when I say against them, I'm talking about against those in power. The cabal that is in power, the one that is cannibalizing, the one that is, you know, making institutions that are supposed to secure us, making them animal to Kenyans. You know, that when you see a policeman, you see somebody who is not friendly. You know, the reason why we are saying that we need to be on the street tomorrow is because this guy has nothing to tell us other than the same lies. We don't. Do I expect him to tell us about what happened on those people that were found at quarry, dumped there? Do we expect him to answer that question tomorrow when he'll be giving that State of Nation? No, we don't. Do we expect him to tell us what is happening with our debt? Why is our state of public debt still rising? Yet you are lying to Kenyans that you are paying the debt. Do we expect him to tell us? No. Do we expect him to tell us the state of our dons, the state of our lecturers who are still languishing, who are still fighting there on the street? This is the fourth week, actually, I think a month now, without their issues being addressed. Do we expect him to tell us about, to answer that question? No, we don't. Just like other regimes, he won't answer that question. Do we expect him to answer us and tell us that the she and the Shah are now working? Do we expect him do we expect him to give us a solution towards Shiv and the Shah? No, we don't, because this is a perennial liar. So we will go to the streets, we will make our views be heard, we will let the world know that we are being led by a tyrant, and this is somebody that we cannot trust, and this is somebody that other nations cannot collaborate and they cannot work together to bring justice. Thank you, Peter.
Asante sana kwa hilo. I see Western Shilaho is in the building. Western, how are you doing?
Peter, I'm good. How are you?
I am well. Karibu sana.
Asante sana. Greetings, Peter, to fellow countrymen and women and everybody in the platform. Peter, these abductions, particularly involving foreigners, have been happening for a very long time in contravention of very many laws internationally. Whether you're talking about international human rights law, international refugee law, international humanitarian law, whether you're talking about customary law, they break all known laws. Why? Because in international law, there's something called non-refoulement. What it means is that if a foreign citizen comes into your country, could be as a refugee, it could be as an asylum seeker, could be for whatever reason, but they may be running away from political persecution. They have not committed a crime, but their home country is after them. The country to which they have run to is obligated, as far as these laws I mentioned are concerned, to protect that person and not rendition or allow actors from the home country to come onto this country of refugee or asylum, status country to arrest and rendition that person back home to face trial or whatever. Why? Because it's always feared that when state apparatus from a different country, cross borders, looking for one of their citizens, they are likely to torture that citizen. Or in some cases, they even can subject that person to death penalty or any form of degrading behavior. So Kenya is breaking all these laws, it's breaking all of them. And it's disturbing. Why? Because the government doesn't uphold the law locally. So they will allow, agents from a foreign country to come and pick whoever, they want. Whether it's South Sudan, citizens of South Sudan have been abducted in Nairobi and renditioned back to South Sudan. Whether it's about Turkey, whichever. Whether it's about Nigeria, there's this separatist leader from Nigeria. He's the head of the indigenous people of Biafra. There's a movement in Nigeria, the separatists. They want a separate state from Nigeria. The leader, somebody by the name Nnamdi Kanu, was abducted in Kenya, renditioned to Nigeria. Is still facing trial in contravention of all these, laws I've mentioned. So we are notorious for that. Kenya is the last country you can seek refuge in. The principle of non-refoulement is absolute. It doesn't really matter the status of this individual, whether they're a refugee, whatever, you have to protect them. Even if the citizen is stateless, you must protect them. Whether they're just an ordinary citizen or a politician in this, you must protect them. And you can tell the country that is asking you to extradite that person that we can't, because you will harm that person. You will harm the person. Like a person from a country where capital punishment is on the statutory books, you don't rendition a person to that country. You don't. You don't. You refuse. Say, nope. May have committed a crime there, we will not, because they'll face the death penalty. In our laws, there's no death penalty, so we don't do that. And you uphold international law. We don't do that. We don't. So how are we a sovereign state when, some other country would take great exception to that, that you can send intelligence people and you don't inform the government, that foreign government. Your intelligence people are just operating in a foreign country without notifying that country. That is a breach of diplomatic protocol, breach or security apparatus. Can easily result to collapse of diplomatic relations. But here we are. Why? Because it reminds us about when people say they want dictators. That's how dictators behave. Or you think they behave differently. They have no regard for law. So Kizza Besigye is a civilian, but he's taken to a court martial. Does it work like that? A civilian is tried before a military court. Is that how it works? It's not a civilian. Well, he's a former soldier, but he's no longer a soldier. Why do you take him to a military court? Yeah, because there you can cite national security or state security, whatever. So you can subject him to whatever, torture, whatever you want. And most significantly is that you can see in a country that has no regard for democracy, an opposition leader is just treated like anybody else. But what is democracy? Where there is democracy, an opposition leader is a potential president. You treat him as such because he could win elections tomorrow. How do you expect him to treat you? But why you think you're going to steal elections in perpetuity? You don't care. You treat them as you wish. You can torture them. You can humiliate them publicly. On election day, you can lock them up. Those are the things Kizza has gone through over the years. Humiliated, right, left, and center. But we think we want dictators. This is how dictators behave, full-blown. Pipita, the other thing, Kizza came to Nairobi as a keynote speaker during Mother Karua's book launch on Sunday. So, Pipita, if you've got a book launch and your keynote speaker, that's your chief guest, doesn't show up, you can't raise that matter. It's until today. I think it's the wife who raised the matter. That's when people realized Kisa had been kidnapped. Like you are launching a book. Your keynote speaker, who is your chief guest? You have got, word that has arrived in Nairobi, but they don't show up. You don't raise that matter. You don't? You don't raise until today. Oh, really? So much for a good friend, eh? So much for a good friend. It was the wife who raised it. The husband had been kidnapped from Kenyan rendition back to Uganda. But in Kenya, there were people who had invited him. They didn't raise it when he failed to show up. Imagine that. Yeah. If you have got such friends, do you need more enemies? Do you? You don't. You don't. We would have learned about it in Nairobi immediately. That Sunday, that Kisa is missing. We would. It would have been news in Kenya, but it's like everybody in Kenya is scared of Museveni, whether in government or outside of government. Oh, really? So how do you expect these people to protect and defend Kenya's sovereignty and territorial integrity? How do you expect them? Yeah, how? You are an opposition leader, Mother Karua, of that stature, a former presidential running mate. You can't raise that. You are raising it now, today, when the news is all over the place. Well, it's you who should have raised that matter during your book launch. Oh, really? So what was it?
1 minute.
Where did they think where did they think he had gone to? Had he taken alcohol and was drunk in his hotel room, couldn't come out? Was it? Then you go and establish whether something has happened, because you have evidence, you have word that he has arrived. When he arrives, he will tell you, I'm around, I've come. So you know he has come. So when he doesn't show up for your book launch, life just continues, eh? My goodness. These are problematic things. Peter, the other thing about this femicide is that we throw money at every other problem. If there's something that's problematic about our country and society, we think money is the solution. And we talk in terms of millions. Millions. And that's why when you declare your interest to run for president, Pipita, the first question will be asked, how much money do you have? We never ask, Pipita, what are your ideas? The first question is, how much money, Pipita, do you have? The other question is, Pipita, how big is your constituency? And your constituency, they're referring to your ethnic group as your foundation. No one asks you, Pipita, what are your ideas? What is your vision? What is your program of action? So it's money. We think you throw money at a problem and the problem will disappear. That is it. Millions here, our budget is in terms of trillions, but you don't see what that money does on the ground. You don't. So femicide, the problem is money. There's no money. You just throw money at it. You wake up the following day, femicide has disappeared. Oh, really? Oh, really? We don't do any thinking. We hate intellectual labor. We don't engage. We hate ideas. And because we hate ideas, we think all you need is money. There's poverty, and they just throw money at it. Or there are floods, they just throw money at it. There's a problem in the education sector, just throw money at it. I've thrown money here, I'm hiring this many teachers. It can't work like that. It doesn't work like that. Because in the absence of ideas, that money just ends up in people's pockets, as it does, corruption. They just loot it. There's nothing they do with it. Because there are no ideas that these people want to realize. These people are not thinking fast. And then, okay, we have thought this is what we're supposed to do. What do we need? What resources do we need? First, they think all that you need is money, and the problem will go. And that's why you're seeing this thing you're seeing here. Yeah, it's our society that we valorize money. You're important because you've got money. You're a serious presidential candidate because you've got money. People have said, no, Kalonzo can't run for president because he doesn't have money. It's not that he can't run or he can't be a president because he doesn't have progressive ideas. It's always, he doesn't have money. You've had those kind of things. Yeah. You have money, yes, you are important. You can be our governor. You can be our member of parliament. Yeah. Now you can run for president because you've got money. It's never you can run for president because you've got ideas which you can help you realize. And those ideas can take our country forward. So until we change our mindset, this will be the way things are done. You know, we just pour money at a problem. The problem stands, it doesn't go anywhere. But people become obscenely wealthy as a result of that money you're pouring there. So that is the problem. They are not going to the root cause of this problem of femicide, like just many other problems in the country. It's not the only one. Just not femicide. There are a lot of problems all over the place. So, but you pick this one, okay? So when you are done with this, you pick another one, eh? You also pour money at the other one. When you are done, you pick another one. You look at it in silos. But a government should operate in an integrated fashion. These problems, we look at them holistically. You look at them in isolation. That this is femicide. Tomorrow we'll look at something else. The following day we'll wait what comes out. So, Pepita, that is my worry. We're a lawless country. We're a lawless country. And because we're lawless, foreigners, foreign governments can just do anything in Kenya. Woe betide you. If your government is after your life and then you go to Kenya, they'll just catch you. They'll get hold of you. They'll get hold of you. But in other places, intelligence people, they care about the safety, not just of their citizens, but of everybody else, even foreigners, everybody else. And they will warn you. We know this intelligence will say, you government, you've got your intelligence people in our country and they want to commit crime. Please tell them to go back home. We'll lock them up. We'll lock them up. So it's the lawlessness we're talking about. And these are the practical fruits, if you may call it, fruits of dictatorship and ruthless people. If we think it's something else, this is what happens. They can kidnap you, even from a foreign country, where you've sought refuge, or where you stay. They just kidnap you. You find yourself back in your home country. You're being tried. That's ruthlessness. That's dictatorship. That's authoritarianism. If we think it's something else, this is what it looks like. Thank you, Pepita.
Thank you so much, Western Shilaho, for that submission. I see we have Dolphin, African, and Talia on the line. I'm going to start with African because network yake imekuwa na issue kidogo, and then I'll go to Dolphin. African.
Yes,
finally.
I hope I'm coming through loud and clear.
Finally.
Hey, finally, Peter, wa? Huku vitu kwa ground huwa ni different.
Unaona venye tunajikaza kuhost hizi show mnafikiria ni jokes.
Hey, I have to congratulate you, Pepita. First of all, just thank you for your consistency. And everyone here, whether you are new, veterans like us, you know, Pepita does this on his own. So ingia hapo tipja, umpatie hata kama ni shilingi moja, mbili, tano, kidogo kidogo, ujaza kibaba. On to this topic, I really like what the speaker was talking about, the last speaker. The only thing I look at right now is Bill Gates and the things that he wants to do in Kenya and the sort of immunity that he's been given. He has already committed a lot of crimes here, from when he engineered the AIDS virus because he wants to depopulate people who look like us, to even now where he wants to vaccinate our cows and wants to introduce bills that are going to tamper with our the backbone of our economy. Upper Kenya, we are right on the equator. Agriculture is the backbone of our economy. Why does he want us to drink bio milk and to vaccinate our cows and to obtain licenses for our dengue? And I often wonder, you know, which one comes first, the chicken or the egg? So when it comes to, okay, we really want to deport Bill Gates, is it Bill Gates who's actually telling Kenya, you need to create a place for me so I can stay, and therefore he is the one controlling things? Or is Kenya really going out there to seek Bill Gates? I tend to think that the former is the case, where we know that his footprints have existed here in Kenya even after we thought we have independence. We've continued to see some of the policies that are pushed down to us just don't make sense. There's some areas of this land that are very rich and lucrative, but the natives, some of us Kenyans, we can't go there
because zimepatiwa, someone else is lavishly reaping the benefits of those lands. They sometimes they get closed out as a conservatory, and then it's like, okay, you can only enter if we know who you are. And we all know now how things are coming out, that these conservations are actually areas where money laundering happens, and precious minerals are being mined from our own country and then shipped to other countries. So I would really be interested in knowing, how does the Kenya government turn around and extradite the criminals whom it has agreed to host in this country? Because these criminals, they're only going to benefit a certain family in this country, right? And so the family is going to accept them to come in and do anything that they want to the rest of us Kenyans, and allow that criminal to stay. So it really defeats my mind how we're going to tackle the problem. But I also think with our social media activation and people being vocal and things really coming out, I think that together we can really try and fight to take back our country. Right now, what's going on in the United States is that with Trump